Welcome all. This is a kind of impromptu little interview I'm doing with Dwight. He's got a Kickstarter coming out March 5th, High Noon. And this is kind of his publicity day. He's been all over the web and internet. And we were just talking. Sorry, my phone's going off. It's impromptu. This is very professional. I don't have the little
super professional.
I got one working on it. Anyway, we were just discussing before we went live. One of the coolest things I've seen anybody do, he actually did a live watching a review of his game that's been done. You just tell me you did not know if that was a good or bad review, right?
No, I did not.
And like I said, why were you doing it? I'd be so nervous. I mean, I'm nervous. It's not even my game, it was cool. By the way, it was really cool. I wish more people would do that because the excitement. And then you did a Facebook live this morning, and once again, your excitement for the game. I love the game. I'm excited. I wouldn't be doing this. It's got me even more excited. So kudos to you of bringing that. Because some publisher has a cool game. I want you to play it. Yeah, okay. Tell it. You were talking about your emotions of watching your review. That was cool, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. I kind of I've been watching a couple of unboxing videos and review videos, and every single one, whether it's a good review or a bad review. I don't think there's such thing as a bad review. I think they're all good reviews as long as they're honest, and like I got a review from the D&E miniatures guys, and they asked me up front. They're like, "Hey, we'd like you to watch this and give us the green light before we publish it." I was like, "That's interesting." So I watched it, and I saw like immediately, like, it's not a glowing review. Like, they're not sitting there worshiping at the feet of High Noon, but it's an honest review, and I could tell that, like, it seemed to me watching it that they wanted to give it higher scores, but they had to hold to their standards. And I thought, man, good on them for holding to their standards. Like, if this is how they grade all games, I want to be graded on that exact same standard. I want the game to stand on its own merits. So, and I told them, I was like, man, yeah, go with it. They're like, oh, thank God. And I was like, you got to take the sweet with the sour, So, so I've always believed that even if nobody likes a review or nobody likes my game, it's still a good review as long as it's honest. And so I would watch these unboxing videos and these review videos, and I would feel myself having an emotional response to it. Not in a bad way, but just an emotion. Like,
I started watching you more than I did the review. This to say, oh, they said something, and I was going to react. I said it was different. I like that.
Yeah, well, there's something to be said about they're called reaction videos, I think. And so, like, when trailers come out for new movies or new TV shows, people will watch the trailer and they'll show themselves watching the trailer. And then that becomes a thing. And I've never understood it. And I don't really care about it. I really don't care if nobody saw that video that I did. I really just wanted to memorialize it for myself so I could go back and look at it in the future, because I don't know if I'm going to always have these emotional responses, when stuff comes out. I don't know what my life is going to be in 10 years. I could be making more games, or this could be the only game I make. But if I make more games, do I start getting used to people doing reviews? Do I start getting used to the unboxing videos? Do I just go, oh yeah, it's just a thing? I don't want to ever forget this raw emotional experience that I'm having. Or that I had those experiences. So I wanted to record it, and that's what I did.
I just kept waiting for the same, but I didn't really like this part of the game. And
that was
kind of wilt and go, oh, they didn't, but they didn't do that. So
Yeah, they really. I was talking to Rad about it. Rad's my my best friend and colleague in this whole endeavor, and I sent him the link. And so afterwards, after he watched it, he called me back and he was like, it's refreshing to have people who get it. They really got the soul of what High Noon is all about. What it is. They know what it is and what it isn't, and what it's not trying to be, what it's trying to be. They get it. So that was really, really, really refreshing.
Yeah, I agree. And I've played on Tabletopia several times and talked to you several times. I have you never talked to them before or anything at all, had you?
Those guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know who they were. They
said some exact same thing that you had said to me about your game and where you wanted it to go. So
yeah,
on that aspect,
I'd put out a call to the review groups, asked if anybody wanted to review it. They reached out. So I had a couple of messages with them back and forth, but I really didn't. I've not built rapport with them yet. We've had some good messages. Like, it's been very friendly, but like, they asked me early on. I've always tried to make myself available to reviewers. If they have any questions about how to play the game, I want to be able to give them those answers so that their experience is proper.
Right.
So I told them, I was like, hey, if you have any questions, let me know. And they did. They had some questions, and I would answer them. And it was really cool because like they would say stuff like they're like, man, we really love the loot. The loot adds balance. And I would come back and I'd be like, yeah, it does. And then also, it can also have an adverse effect where, like, if the sheriff draws the steel chest plate and the repeater rifle, just give up. It doesn't matter who you are. Just be like, oh, sheriff won. New game, next game. And that's that's kind of the fun of it. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. Right. And they said, like, his message, the last message I got from him about that before I saw the review was, they said, we really picked up the vibe. We picked up that vibe right away. And it just, like, that made me feel really good.
Well, I agree. And my background is, really more into miniature gaming and some of the bigger hardcore board games. I got to get all those sleeves. But you have that fine mix, and there was a couple things when I first played that first on Tabletopia. I was like, oh, my miniature gaming came out in. But by the end of the game, I'm like, I accepted it, and hey, it's all about playing the game, not the mechanics, and I think they mentioned it, the line of sight. It's not, it was about playing the game, playing your posse, which there's very few games out there that do that. I mean, you still, it's a game, so you got to play the game,
right?
But
right.
Overall, you're not worried about all that other stuff. So that's why it hooked me, that first Tabletopia game after end of it. It's like, wow, I just played a game and wasn't worried about all that other stuff. And I think I mentioned, I finally read the rule book a couple nights ago. Of course you were there leading us on through some of those Tabletopia games, but being able to play a game, once again, for me, my mentality, I've got to read the rule book 10 times and know every rule before I play the game. But to have a game out there like that is awesome. I will post a link to the YouTube when this comes up on YouTube to their review. I think it was short, as a great review, very short. They made it a few good points and caught the overview of the game. So good. Kickstarter. Once again, you got excited about March 5th. I got to work during the day, but man, I think several of us will be on Tabletopia all night, Friday night, playing games. So
yeah, that should be fun.
I think, once again, if people want to get out there, see what the game is about, I think, once again, getting the physical copies is going to bring it up even a notch for me, because I like to play video games and stuff, but to me, board games on Tabletopia, sometimes clunky. I flip the wrong card. I hit draw. I hit deal instead of draw, and I flipped something that shouldn't have. And you won't have the problems with the actual physical game, which I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, that's and High Noon is a miniatures game. Like, it's meant to be played in physical form. It is a very physical game, and it's funny when I was first, when I canceled the campaign, I then went back and worked on it for a full year, and I had made the mistake of promising people that I would relaunch the game like in weeks after canceling it, and then I found out. Yeah, I found out later. I was like, "Oh, oops. Yeah, no, this is not ready at all." So I started getting people who started getting very antsy. They're going to be very upset that they had to wait so long.
Sure.
And but I was always posting these updates to the Tabletopia to let people see like what the gameplay style would be, like how these expansions would work. The whole point of doing the Tabletopia was to get people acclimated with the gameplay, how the rules work. So when they get the game, they can just open it up and go to town.
Yeah.
And also to let them see like what posses, how different posses played, so they could decide what posses they wanted to buy. A lot of people are saying, I want to be surprised, and I don't want everything to be ruined. And it's like, I completely understand that. And to those people, I would say that if you want to do that, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. But High Noon, when I made these expansions, a lot of games I see make expansions for the express purpose that everybody buys them. Like, you've got to buy all these expansions, otherwise you don't have the full game. And for me, the point of the expansions is to speak to specific people and how they like to play a game. So every expansion is not going to make everybody happy. A lot of people might not like a certain posse. They might not like a certain expansion. And I don't want them as much as I want to make money, I don't want them spending their money, their hard-earned money, on a posse that they end up not liking. They pull it out of the box and they're surprised I don't like it. And so that's why I did the Tabletopia, was to let them get acclimated with the different posses and be like, ooh, I really like the Los Hermanos. Those guys are awesome. Or, the Jenkins brothers, man, they're so much fun. The Monko and the Cat, not a big fan. I wanted them to get that experience. And people would come back and they're like, I wanted to, I thought I was investing in a board game, and all you're doing is making a computer game, and nobody cares about your computer game. You need to get back to making board games. And I'm thinking, like, I'm not making any money on a Tabletopia. It's absolutely free. It's like
I'm sure it's been a great way to do beta testing.
Absolutely,
with people from everywhere. And I tell you, there's a lot of, even I go back to the miniature games I play, they have converted those to Steam or Tabletopia games because of COVID and everything else.
Right.
That people can't get together. And I like playing them. I still would rather play in person. And sorry, I moved your piece, Mine and, that type of stuff. But it still allows people to, and I tell you, I wouldn't be right here right now if I hadn't played that first game. Popping around and say, hey, come play. And I did. I wouldn't be here right now. So, kudos to you doing that on Tabletopia. So,
I'm just glad that people are able to enjoy it. It makes me happy.
Yeah, we got a group playing tonight. I think I don't know if me and AJ, but a couple of us are wanting to learn tonight. Of course, AJ's got to play in this tournament game.
That's right. Well, AJ's game is not on tonight.
Oh,
that's right. Yeah, that's right. This is round 2 for the other guys.
What we're talking about, and it kind of in conjunction with the Kickstarter, Dwight's doing a tournament on Tabletopia, and I'm going to go for the lowest score. I guarantee it. I got the lowest score. But it was fun, and I tell you, it goes back to, I'm a gamer. It's okay, I lost. I should have done better. But I tell you, that game, even though it was miserable, the worst I've lost a game.
It was pretty bad.
I was trying to, mess with AJ. It was, hey, I know I'm not going to win, but it's about. I remember playing Risk. You talk about Risk and some of your stuff. Playing Risk against my brother. If I'm not going to win, he's not going to win.
He's not going to win. Right.
And
then he won.
He did. Or he flipped the board or something like that, But I was trying to do that to AJ. I was trying to hold off long enough for everybody else to get in the building and take AJ out, but that didn't work. So, but I tell you another thing I've been impressed. I'm a little older and I've seen vast games come and go and stuff. and I've kind of got in my mind, what's the type of game I want to play out of all, pieces here and there. And I keep asking, well, how about this? How about a campaign? Oh, yeah, we got that. How about what was something else the other day? The 3D buildings goes back to my miniature gaming. Oh yeah, we're working on that. And you got the working on the bank. Oh yeah, we're doing that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, everything I throw out there, you go, oh yeah, you might not see it right now, but you were talking about, oh, you posted today. You were on Hero. What was the site we're making?
Hero Forge.
You hadn't said anything about that expansion to me.
Oh, Purgatory.
Yeah, what's that all about?
Yeah, so it's funny because what you're talking about, like there are some people who would come up with some amazing ideas that we kind of already thought of, and so eventually after they would throw out these ideas, and that would be the response, they're like, "Man, I think you're just stealing my ideas. I don't think you actually are already doing this. I think you're just stealing them." But when I started this, the idea of an expansive universe and all sorts of different types of gameplay, a style of game for everybody was always in mind. And before I even sat down and really crafted the game itself, I mapped out a 10-year timeline of what does High Noon look like in 10 years. And the thing about High Noon, what is like the underlying thing about High Noon is we're not actually selling High Noon. Like, I love Westerns. I love High Noon. I really want to launch High Noon. But what we're trying to launch is the game system. And so in a lot of reviews, people are like, oh, this is High Noon from the company White Label Games. And that's actually not, like, it's actually Playtech is the company that myself and my best friend formed. And we formed it to just kind of like create cool ideas for things to play, whether it's, laser tag games or, toys or whatever. So what I was working on was a game system that I called White Label Game System, specifically because you can white label it. You can just take it and apply the core mechanics of it to just about any intellectual property and make a game out of it. Because I want people to create their own games. I want people to come up with their own stuff. So to really show that off, I wanted to see how far White Label could actually go. What could it be until it couldn't be that? Like, what are the boundaries of High Noon? Or not a High Noon, but of White Label. And so it starts as this the mechanics of the tactical combat. The move guys, do actions, move units, do actions, loot, take items from things, and get points. How does that work? But ultimately, the end result is White Label can be used for anything. It can be used for a role-playing game, an RPG system. It can be an army, a massive army combat game system. It can be a resource management system. There's a posse that I'm releasing that is it's the posse is there on the board they're playing, but they have a worker placement element. Like they have a character sheet. It's the miners basically, and so the character sheet looks like the mines, and that player has little workers that they can place on the mines, and every turn those workers generate different resources that character can then use to craft items to then apply to his characters to build them up. And so it's a worker placement game, right? And so it's like, wow, High Noon could be a worker placement game. So that's what I was developing. And because of that, because I was doing that, when people say, oh, you should do this, it's like, yeah, I have already thought of that because it naturally falls into what I want White Label to be. So in order to do that, I chose High Noon as the starting point. And from there, I'm like, okay, well, if I want a supernatural element, if I want ghouls and ghosts and goblins, because some people are going to want that, where do I go from that? And so that's where, I can't, of course you have to have vampires. The first thing I thought was zombies, right? That was the very first thing. And so we created High Fever. And that's going to be a whole different game system, sort of like it's White Label game system. But, it's a little bit detached. It's its own game style, but you play it just like High Noon. And then I was like, okay, so now I have zombies. What else do I got? Oh, well, of course, vampires and werewolves. And then I was like, okay, how do those mechanics work? And then I was like, well, why not angels and demons? And so that's where I introduced the town of Purgatory in Saratoga, in the map of Saratoga. You'll see it in the map. It's in the upper. It's right next to. There's this big crater called Wormwood Basin, and next to that crater is all this dead wood, like a huge dead forest, because some asteroid hit and killed everything in this area. And so it's created bad juju, bad energy, which is, it's really opened up a interdimensional portal to heaven and hell. And a town was founded there, and it's called Purgatory. And so you have these demons and these angels that come to that place to do battle. And so like, I haven't worked out all of the mechanics, but you're going to basically have two posses, the demon posse and the angel posse. And the demon posse has an outlaw, and the succubi who lures characters in and whatever. Whereas the angels are like, they're basically the sheriff and the deputy with wings, essentially.
Right.
But I just wanted cowboys with wings, really, at the end of the day.
You mentioned the map. That's a couple, because I've watched, like I said, D&E. I watch Eric do his unboxing and stuff, and it's interesting. A lot of people, the first thing they see that map, and they go, "What? Oh, a map."
Yeah, but it's almost a throwaway.
You need you might want to get out there. Is, hey, this is my world. This isn't just here's where we're starting at. This is the world that you're thinking of, and the expansion ability of it's great, man.
Well, that's and it's one of those things where if you like, and this is like when I would set out to try to explain the vision for white label games, which really ultimately is the vision for High Noon, and like where High Noon would be in 10 years, people kind of, their eyes glaze over.
Right.
So I realized that, like, if you introduce too much, they don't get it. So I thought, okay, rather than try to sell people on the fact that this is a universe, because they don't want to get that right now. They're not ready for it. They just want a game. They just want to open up a box and play a game. So that's why I just created the map and just kind of put it in there. Just kind of planting a little seed that there's more to this. There will be more to this than what's right here. I wish I could lead with that. I wish I could lead with High Noon is this massive universe, but hopefully the people who are passionate about it will get that message across.
Well, I think with the success of High Noon, this Kickstarter, that people will want more, and that's when you go, I got you now.
Yeah, true.
Give them those crumbs, and then, hey, that was, it's like Girl Scout cookies. You eat one, I got
yeah. Yeah, the tag-alongs, man, they're the devil's juice. Yeah,
but well, I know you've got to set up for that tournament, and like I said, we talked about doing a quick interview, and honestly, I want to try to experiment with StreamYard and see how this works for myself. We're actually probably going to try to use something. Speaking of D&E and Eric, he's going to come over. We're going to have High Noon at High Noon tomorrow.
Oh, cool!
And we'll be streaming it tomorrow. So I'll post some links and stuff once we figure out what platform and everything. I said, all those guys are way ahead of me on all this fancy stuff and all. I'm learning. So
you're doing great, man. You got it. Look at you. You got the background. You got the two windows.
I got a big Discover banner I need to get up, but
yeah, I'll settle for my banner.
Talking about on that. Yeah, no, as I said, and I love this. It's so easy. So, well, I don't want to keep you. We've been about 25 minutes, and I wanted to keep it under 30, just quick. And I know you're a busy man right now. And
yeah. Well,
so look, really, I support a lot of independent games and actually have a store, but what really impresses me is your passion. And, so we've talked a few times that comes through, and then, doing it for, yes, it's like my shop. I want to make money, But that's, if I do everything else right, I'll do that.
Right.
That will be the result of it. And I see that coming from you. You know, you had the past Kickstarter, and you've had this and that going on, and
no, I gotta fix that.
You know, I don't even, at first I'm like everybody else. What's going on? But after talking to you and see what you're doing and where you want to go, it's not even a thought in my mind that you want to do it. You want to bring a quality game to people for, you know, a decent cost and make it fun. Like I said, you get in the big games, the 4X games. It takes 5 hours to play, and you know you got all the other with the million tokens, and it's fun. But you know this, you throw it down the board. I see us playing a game in an hour or less.
Yeah,
once we get it down, and so. But I appreciate your time. Any parting words? March 5th, right?
March 5th is the day. It's the day. And thank you for you know your continued support. And you know, it was really great. It's serendipitous that we would even what's fascinating. This is, and okay, I know it's not really a parting word. It's like a parting rant. But one of the things that I really wanted to establish, and Rad will even attest to this, is because we talk about it a lot. One of the things that we really want to establish with High Noon is how do I put this? I'd say I talk about it a lot, and I still don't know how to put it into words, but like a community, a communal engagement where people reconnect. Like relationships they're not just forged, but they're cultivated, and you know, you interact with each other, you have a great time with each other, and you realize that, like, hey, you know, you're cool. Like, I like hanging out with you. And we saw that in the tournament, in the first round of the tournament. You know, we are officially an international tournament. We had people from all over the state and people in Canada playing at that table. All over the country, and then in Canada playing at that table. And everybody was having a great time. And it didn't matter that it's a tournament. There's prizes. Like, the loser gets nothing. The winner gets some really cool prizes. So everybody wants to win. And yet everybody was having a great time. They were cracking jokes to each other. Like, they were even helping each other out. There's parts where like somebody messed up and it'd be like, it's okay. You know, take it back. It's fine. That's really what we really set out to do was bring engagement back to the table. Like, don't just have people just sitting there like doing stuff in their own world. Like, really get people together and bond, like really bond, you know, at the table. And people might say like, well, you know, games do that. And yeah, I mean, if you're really into games, I'm sure that, you know, there's a lot of games that do, but we wanted to make a gateway game that could do that. Some simple game that anybody could pick up and play that would do that. And to that end, you know, here I was in some Facebook group, and I see a post from you about Core Space, which I had just heard about from my photographer, and I was like, oh, I need to look into that for product research. And so that's all I did was I just reached out for product research, and I bought a couple of your games, and you sent them over really, really quick. And from there, we just started talking, and it just started from there, and here we are. You know, I think in I mean, maybe not best friends, but I mean, I like you. You know, like we get along great. We have each other's backs, and that's where it all starts. You know, so it's just serendipitous that all of this stuff leads to this, and it's an honor to meet you. It's an honor to have a relationship with you and to be on your show. I'm
the same way. I tell you, and this is why I do it. And it goes back to the reason I hooked up with Indie Invasion. You know, it's about the passion for the hobby. Yeah, I'm a retailer, so it's passion for the industry. And it's more than just. I wish I could make more money, don't we all? But
yeah.
You know, it is about that, bringing that gaming experience to people. So, and I guess that's why we kind of connect a little bit. So,
and people need to check out your website. So don't just plug me, plug you. You got a great story. It surprised the heck out of me when I checked it out.
Yeah, and it's still always Uh-oh. Now you put me on the spot and I fell with
yeah, you got to go. Yeah. You're on
banners. Here we go. There's mine. That's my
there
Facebook.
It is.
And I thought I had a link to my actual. No, that's Facebook too. See, I'm not prepared.
It's all right.
But
it's all
check
right.
me out. It's discover-games.net is the website. See, I need to get that up there.
Bam.
Anyway, well, thanks, and we'll be talking to you later. And once again, March 5th.
And enjoy a Coastal Con.
Oh yeah, we'll bug you. We'll bug you.
I'm sure.
Once again,
all right.
Dwight, check out High Noon, March 5th Kickstarter. We appreciate you, and you have a good night, man.
Thanks, buddy. You too.